All right, hello, welcome to day 3 of the notes. Today we're going to be talking about factoring by grouping. Just to kind of warm us up, we want to kind of refresh our memory of how to factor binomials. All right, so if we have x squared, or sorry, not binomials, trinomials, x squared minus 7x plus 6, 6 would go on top, negative 7 would go down here, and then of course that would be negative 6 and negative 1. So that's going to be x minus 6 and x minus 1, which is this last one down here. X squared minus 9x plus 18. So 18 goes on top. Negative 9 goes down here. I need factors of 18 that add up to equal negative 9, and that, of course, is negative 6 and negative 3. So that's x minus 6 and x minus 3, which is up here. And then lastly, I have a negative 7 on top and a positive 6 on bottom. So factors of negative 7, where the bigger number is positive, it's just going to be negative 1 and positive 7. So x minus 1 and x plus 7. And that, of course, is that middle one. All right, today we're going to be factoring 4-term polynomials. All right, so this is only used whenever we have 4 terms. There's 2 methods of using, and we've already kind of used these with when we did our trinomials that had an a greater than 1. But just to kind of refresh our memories, we can use the box or we can group. All right, so if we use the box, we're going to put the 4 terms in the boxes here. And there we go. The negative 3x squared and the positive 3x, it doesn't matter which order you put that in. Just the first and last have to be in the upper left and bottom right, respectively. All right, so then we're going to factor across this top row, x cubed and negative 3x squared. Well, I know I have an x squared in common there. 3x and negative 9, I can divide both of those by 3. X cubed and 3x, I can divide both of those by an x. And then negative 3x squared and negative 9, I can divide those by a negative 3. So I have an x minus 3 and an x squared plus 3. All right, so that is using the box, which is some of you all's preferred method. I'm going to show you now factoring by grouping. This is my preferred method, but either one works just fine. Here, x cubed minus 3x, I can take out an x squared, and that leaves behind an x minus 3. So I'm just looking at this first group and taking out the common factor there. Then I'm looking at this second group, 3 and negative 9. I can take out a 3, and that leaves behind an x minus 3. All right, so I have a common factor here of x minus 3 that I can take out. And when I do that, what's left behind is x squared plus 3, which is, if you look, hey, look, it's the exact same thing. So either way works just fine, whichever one works easiest for you. I'm going to continue to show over and over again both methods, but just so you know, it doesn't matter which method you use, they both work just fine. All right, so 2k cubed plus 7k squared minus 10k minus 35. I'm going to start off with grouping, and then we'll move on to the box method. I'll go ahead and create my box here, and one thing I do want to say before, what I should have done first is look for a GCF. I knew there was no GCF here, but I should have made sure of that before I started. But before you do anything with factoring, make sure you check for a GCF first. There are no GCFs here, so we can go ahead and build our box. All right, so we can use either method. I'm going to use grouping first, then I'll move to the box, show that it doesn't matter, we'll find the same thing. All right, 2k cubed and 7k squared, I can factor out a k squared, and that leaves behind a 2k plus 7. And then if I look at this second thing, negative 10k minus 35, I can factor out a minus 5, and that leaves behind a 2k, not x, 2k plus 7. All right, so my common factor is 2k plus 7, and what's left behind is k squared minus 5. All right, so that is grouping. Then I'll show you the other way as well. This is the box method. So working our way across, I can factor out a k squared, and then the second row I can factor out a minus 5. the top, or the left side here, 2k cubed and negative 10k, I can factor out a 2k. And then a 7k squared and a minus 35, I can factor out a plus 7. So my factors are 2k plus 7 and k squared minus 5. And you'll notice those are the same. So it doesn't matter the method, as long as you are doing one of them correctly, you should get there. All right, again, build our box. Looking for a GCF, and there is none. All right, and then we can group those as well. All right, so looking at 5xy and negative 3x, the only thing I can factor out of that is an x, and that leaves behind a 5y minus 3. 10y cubed minus 6y squared, I can factor out of that a 2 and a y squared, and that leaves behind a 5y minus 3. And so 5y minus 3 is one of the factors, and x plus 2y squared is the other. So that's grouping. Now I'll move on to the box method. 5xy minus 3x. Well, the only thing I can factor out of that is an x. And then 10y cubed minus 6y squared. I can divide both of those by a 2, and then they can both afford to give up a y squared. And then across the way here now, so going left side and then right side, that is going to be a 5y and negative 3x and negative 6y. Those obviously can give up a negative 3. So I have 5y minus 3 and x plus 2y squared. And that is, again, the same exact thing. All right, for number 3, we do have a GCF this time. All of those can be divided by 2, and they can also all afford to give up an x. So what I'm going to do is factor out first a 2x from all of those. So it leaves me with 30xy plus 10, oh, sorry, not 30. Forgot to factor out the 2. No, 30xy plus 5x minus 24y minus 4. So basically just cut all the numbers in half and take an x away. All right, so from here, that's what I'm going to build my box off of, and I know that my final answer is going to have a 2x out in front. So upper left is going to be 30xy, then 5x, then negative 24y, and then negative 4. By grouping, got them like that. So 2x stays as part of my answer. 30xy and 5x, I can pull out a 5x, and that leaves behind a 6y plus 1. Negative 24y minus 4, I can pull out a negative 4, and that leaves behind a 6y plus 1. Okay, and then the 2x stays out front. I got a 6y plus 1 as a common factor, and a 5x minus 4 as what's left behind, and that's going to be my final answer there. And then moving over to the box method, just to show you that one again. 30xy and 5x, I can pull out a 5x. Negative 24y and a negative 4, I can pull out a negative 4. 30xy and negative 24y, I can pull out a 6y. And 5x minus 4, all I can pull out is a 1. Okay, so I've got a 6y plus 1 and a 5x minus 4, which, if you look and see, those are exactly the same again. All right, last one here. Looking first for a GCF. Unfortunately, that last one is a 3, so it's not divisible by 5. Otherwise, I'd have a GCF. So I can go ahead and build my box. In upper left, I'm going to do 25xy. Then I got a 5x. Then I got a 15y, and then a 3. Grouping those, I'll group the first two and then the last two together. All right, I can pull out a 5x, and that leaves me with a 5y plus 1. And the second group, I can pull out a 3, and that leaves behind a 5y plus 1. So 5y plus 1 is my common factor, and 5x plus 3 is what's left over. And then looking at the box method, I got 25xy and a 5x, I can pull out a 5x. 15y and a 3, I can pull out a 3. 25xy and a 15y, I can pull out a 5y. And 5x and 3, I can just pull out a 1. So I got a 5y plus 1 and a 5x plus 3. All right, that does it for today's notes. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email or send a Canvas message, and I'll be happy to help you. Have a great day.